No, yeah, I have on a little mascara, a little eyeshadow, and my fave tinted moisturizer, because I thought I'm going to share with you 3 different bronzers and I'm going to try them on with you. So I thought I have to have a clean face, and then in less than 5 minutes while we're doing this, I am going to finish getting dressed and finishing my lip blush and all that stuff along with the bronzers as we try them together. I have been using Fenty's bronzer for probably a good 6 months now. Absolutely love. The color that I use is Naughty, Cocoa Naughty. Absolutely love it. Very happy with it. And you guys already know my story. I have oily, acne prone skin. So I did look at the ingredients. Before I even bought them, I went on Charlotte Tilbury's website to check the ingredients, and then I compared them to Fenty's, being that I have not had any problem wearing Fenty for the last 6 months. I thought, let me see how they compare. And based on the new Airbrush bronzer by Charlotte Tilbury, the ingredients are super similar compared to the Fenty, so I thought I was good. There was no silicone, there was no mineral. The only one that's a questionable one is talc, TALC, but that is also in Fenty, which makes sense because it is a powder. That I'm going to give you my opinion about is the new one by Fenty, the cream bronzer that just came out. And so I got that for you. I do have one question mark of hesitation about this one. So, but I would love your opinion too. So definitely leave me some comments what you think about it below. And I'm going to tell you what my thought is at the end. But anyway, so let's get dressed. So here's the thing. The other thing is I like bronzers that really don't have a lot of, what's the word? Sparkle, no. Frost? No. There's another word. What's the word when it, I don't like any, oh heck. It'll come to me. Can't think of the word. Anyway, I don't like any shimmer. Ooh, that's what it is, shimmer. I don't like shimmer in my bronzer. So the Fenty doesn't have it, and neither does it Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to do one on each side. I will tell you. So here is the Charlotte Tilbury. Ooh, nice, pretty new packaging. See if you can see that color. Okay, let me do a different angle here. You know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a shot in right now. So that's the new shot. Ironically, their packaging is so similar in color. But so the colors, I'm going to put in a shot now so you can see how the colors are really similar. Yeah, the lighting is messing it up. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. That shows you it's pretty close. And the Charlotte Tilbury color I got. Oh, that's the other thing. Okay. Ooh, I knew there was a big difference. Okay. Not major, but it's a difference. Now, we all know if you've been buying anything from Fenty, she nailed it. Knocked it out of the ballpark in regards to having so many beautiful shades. Charlotte Tilbury, there are only 4 colors. This is shade number 3, and there is just one more shade. There's a shade 4, which is a tad bit darker. But I was looking at the different models that she had on her website and trying to figure out, you know, what I wanted to do. I thought this was going to be the best color, and when I got it in the mail, I was really happy to see it was very similar to the Rihanna. I'm going to put Rihanna here on my left, you're right, and then I'm gonna do Charlotte Tilbury on my right, your left, and then I'll save the cream for last. Okay, so just gonna okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on. And the other cool thing was too about all of these blushes I'm gonna share with you is the fact that you could use them as buildable, which I think is really cool. So you can never really put too much because you can always just keep adding and adding if you like. So I'm going to put it right underneath because I'm only going to put a little blush on the apples of my cheeks. So I'm keeping everything really light today because it is hot. And once again, I'm just being realistic on what I typically would do. And then I'm gonna put right down here. Like this super blends in with my skin. I'm hoping you guys can tell. I'll put a little bit more only to see if I can show it on camera for you so you can see the color. I think it's coming up a little bit better for you now. See that there? Okay. Then I put a little bit around the hairline again. And then I'll do a little bit more. But if I wasn't showing you on camera, I would have just left it with the first round. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that was Rihanna's. Okay. So now I'm gonna grab another brush so I don't confuse myself. Okay. So now we're gonna take shade 3 in Charlotte Tilbury. Now, I have not tried this on yet, so I'm literally trying it on with you for the very first time. I just wanted to see if the colors were similar, but I'm trying it on with you for the first time. So let's take it and let's do, all right, let's do around the hairline first. Okay, so what do I think so far? I'm gonna do a little on the, all right, let's do a little bit on the right underneath the cheeks like we did before. Color is great for what I want. I really could use it like a blush too. And I'm so light-handed, you guys, but I am putting on more so you can see it on the camera. That is a pretty, if I was using it as a blush color, I literally could just use it as a blush color. Now I'm like telling you guys, I'm like, oh, I don't put too much, and now I'm like, oh. So now I'm gonna put it right below. Okay. What do you think? Oh, I'm blending, sorry. So now, oh, I don't know. Oh, let me show you guys close. All right, Charlotte Tilbury, which one do you like? Or Rihanna, Fenty? Fenty? Charlotte Tilbury? Which is your favorite? Oh, I don't know. You'll let me know what you think, which one is the winner. And then here's the thing. While that's doing that, I'm gonna quickly, and I'm gonna finish getting dressed. Okay, here is the cream Fenty blush. I hate talking about negative stuff, but I can't help it. I wanna be honest with you. I'm not gonna use the cream blush. I'm hesitant about cream bronzers anyway. I want to have to use setting spray just so it doesn't slide down my face. Slides down my face, then I'm going to have more problems. Then I'm going to be oily, and then I'm going to have to be blotting. I'm like, this is going to be too much work. So for that reason, I'm probably not going to do it. But if you don't have oily skin like me, you have normal or to dry skin, I would absolutely try it. Once again, it came in some beautiful shades, and I'll just show you how light it is. And you can see like it almost just like blended. I'm just going to use my Gorgio Armani liquid blush. I'm going to put a little dab there and a little dab there, so hopefully you guys can tell how nice the bronzer complements on face. You have seen these colors before. This color, I'll link it below for you. I think it's number 52. So, and typically I'll take the beauty blender because you guys know I don't touch my face unless I have to. So I just take the little beauty blender and just go right over my cheek a little bit, so I don't take it off too much, and I only put it on the apples. And then the cool thing is, because this is like a quick day look for me, and So it's on the apples of my cheeks a little. It's blended in. And then if I really want to, then I'm gonna put on, this is, by Terry lipstick. I'm just gonna put a little of this on. Just a pretty coral color. All right, and I'm just gonna take the, so I'm gonna take my, I forgot to blend in my bronzer for somebody to get to me. All right, so I'm gonna blend this in a little bit. This is the Hourglass brush too, you guys. So that's that. Okay. If I just want to like quickly blend stuff in like really fast, and I want it to like not look like I just finished getting made up, then I'll spray this on real fast before I go out the door. And so that's what I do. And if I'm wearing a top like this, or I'm wearing something strapless, and I've got a pretty glow, natural glow on my face, then I have shared this with you in the past. I put it on like a little bit of here, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a like a bronzing glow, and then it does have a little like tanning lotion smell, but it goes away within 10 minutes. I remember getting this suggestion from Tamara Hall, who now has her own TV show, but when she used to be on NBC, this is what she would put on her legs, on her pretty glowing leg when she'd be wearing like short dresses and everything. Literally, I got like one squirt. I'm gonna put, so I typically, and it really doesn't like give you color, it more so gives you a nice finishing glow. I am going to wrap up the video here. I promise you, I just wanted to come do this really fast and quick for you guys. This is talk about the new bronzers, see what you think, what's your take, and what's the vote for me. Which do you like best on me? Charlotte Tilbury or Fenty? Fantastic prices, fantastic products, fantastic women. What's your favorite? Love you guys. Thank you so much. And stay tuned. My next video is going to be my recent shoe haul and how I scored the last pair of Chanel shoes in the United States. Stay tuned. I'll be seeing you guys in 2 days. They should be delivered tomorrow. Oh, wait, subscribe. Do not leave me without subscribing. I can't wait to see your comments, your feedback. I always appreciate the support, and I thank you in advance for subscribing. Thank you guys. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.